Well, it's a beautiful fall day here in the Kootenays. I'm at a local lake and I want to do a little fall mini show. You know, the fall can bring in some great action. It's late October. You know, I've got the arsenal I need. I've got blobs, I've got leeches, I've got shrimp, I've got baby damsels. I've even got chironomids. You know, sometimes you can go deep in October, like fish will be feeding at 30, 40 feet on chironomids and bloodworms. You just never know. And I've got, of course, my Mega Live unit, my Humminbird Mega Live, where I can actually find the fish, see what they're doing. So, you know what? I'll just try to film as much as I can and show everybody how I approach a lake in the fall. That's today, as we take you sport fishing on the fly.
Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses, Humminbird Fish Finders, First Tellurium Corporation, and Hardy Rods and Reels.
So all I'm going to do is cruise along the shoreline here. I've got a nice shoal all along here. And I'm just going to watch on my Mega Live and see if I see anything. I've got it pointing that way. I've got it pointing to the shoreline. You know, you can move it around. But I got it pointing to the shore to see if something's moving on any shrimp in there, anything in the shallows. You know, good thing to use blobs. But, you know, so far nothing. It's early. You know, it just got out here. It's about 10 in the morning. Usually in the fall, it really cranks up in the afternoons when it warms up a little bit. And I got a good water temp. I got 52. It's not bad. I'd prefer it, you know, 50 or under, but it's pretty close to being good. So we'll see. I'll just go check out deeper, shallow first, then deeper water and see if we find any. Okay, I got one there. And he's about 12 feet and a good size too, actually. That's a nice size fish. Right on the edge of the shoal, about 10 to 12 feet. So that's one. See if I see a few more, but at least I know there might be fish cruising in about 10 to 12 feet, which would be good for leeches and blobs. So we'll see. Oh, there's another. Okay, getting into a few. There's another one. Getting into a few fish over there. Okay, cool, good place to start. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I got a couple of fish there. Here's the blobs. You know, we got the cotton candies. I've got some of the heavy fluffy guys. I've got some shaved wood in here. You know, you got to have a variety. But I think, you know, I always have luck starting with the cotton candy. We'll start with this one. And we'll see if we get some on that. If not, might have to go smaller to some of these smaller blobs. If not, I'll try some of the crazy ones. Got the firetail blobs I can strip later, but I think I'll start with hanging some of these and then strip one after. So I saw a couple move out here a little bit, so I'll try one out here. Let the blob hang. And if we don't get anything hanging, then we'll start stripping some. I'd like to see a few more fish. I've only seen a couple, but you know, I'm in a boat by myself, so I'm allowed 2 rods in BC. But it's such a tough thing to do when you're filming, so I think I'll just change it up. Use one at a time and try to get some footage. Okay, there we go. Got one hanging the hanging the blob, which is good. Oh, and he just got off. That wasn't a bad fish either. Nice. Okay, so I spotted them on the Mega Live. Saw they're down about 10-12 feet. I'm hanging about 10 feet with the cotton candy, and they ate it. So that is a good sign. Okay, I'm gonna go back there and see if I can find some more. That is fantastic. It's a good start. I didn't get him in, but that's okay. So I'm looking here. I've got a guy down pretty deep, 16 feet. There's another nice one down about 14, kind of that direction. I'm over there, it's there, but that's okay. If he's down there, he might see it where it's sitting there. And again, it never hurts to give that blob a little motion. Let it sit, and then just to attract him, you give it a little motion. And if they're really in the fall, there's no hatches. You got to remember, it's really low. You might get some dying vegetation. You might get some damsels, you know, baby damsels coming off the vegetation. Some, you know, smaller mayfly nymphs that are setting up for the winter. But really, those fish are cruising looking for shrimp. They're usually in the shallow water, and you know, up to 10, 15 feet. And nothing there right now, but I'm sure they'll come back. Well, I came into the spot, saw a couple of fish, and now I'm not seeing anything. I spanned around. I got a little riffle coming up. Oh, there's some guys down there at 14, but they're just not the numbers I like to see. There's another guy up higher. Well, I'll give it a little time. Those guys are moving right on top. Yeah, if I don't see a lot of fish, like I like to see numbers. When they're in, you know, you'll see here, you'll see, you know, quite a few stacked. But there's just not the numbers I like to see. So I think I'll move and I'll keep looking for bigger numbers. Well, this guy hopefully is a decent size. Didn't have to go. Let's just give one more cast before I hung it. Now I got to get, you know, normally you take a throat sample this time of year. You're not going to see much in there. But I'm going to anyways and see. See if they are feeding on anything. You never know, because it could be taking chironomids, bloodworms. That guy ate the blob, so that's a good sign. Let's see. He's nice size. Just a little guy. Well, that's what's being hidden, and I've had a lot of hits, but they're smaller. Flies out. Let's get a throat sample and see if there's anything in there at all. Make sure the vial is empty. Get this guy turned the right way. Okay. Yep. Boy, the water is cold, so it's getting the right temperature. Come on. Oh, jeez. Come on. Okay, buddy. And there he goes. Well, let's see. Normally, you might see some shrimp, some other goodies this time of year. So we'll see. See what he's got. All right. Oh, full of Daphnia. just chocker block full of Daphnia. Well, I'm using the right thing, very light colored Daphnia, but that's what he's eating. Just full of Daphnia. Wow, crazy. So there's my fly, and there's a fish moving towards it. Is he gonna eat it? Come on. He's coming up to it. Let's watch my indicator. He's coming towards it. There, he took it. And I saw him. I saw him eat it. That was awesome. So I hope everybody saw that. That was pretty cool. Oh, and a nice fish too. Oh, gee. Yeah, good one. That's crazy when that happens. When you... Oh, look at, he's barely hooked. Oh, not much of a fight, but he's coming in. But that was pretty cool. Look at the blob just hanging there. And we saw right on the screen. There he is there. Not a bad bow. Nice chrome bullet. I'll let him go. But probably full of Daphnia, like all the rest of them. Gee, not much fight in him, that's for sure. Just came in like a... There he goes. Came in like a slug.
So if you go into the interior, I'm telling you, take boobies or blobs, because they're guaranteed to be on Daphnia at some point during your trip these days. It seems like almost every trip you got to pull out the arsenal. And they're also really good attractor patterns for in the morning, like when you're trying to figure out what they're on. So this blob was created by me because I went fishing with, I'm just going to say, one of Brian Chan's good friends, and he pulled out his pink blob one day on one of my favorite lakes and just absolutely hammered trout with it. And I mean, pink works everywhere for other fish, so why wouldn't it work for trout? So, and it kind of mimics that egg color too. So I'm doing this one on a jig hook so you can hang it. Normally I actually don't tie beaded blobs. I tie unbeaded, and I use my line to get them, because I fish them really shallow, you know, sometimes too, in 2-3 feet of water. So I like to use my lines to get them down, but I've had good success recently hanging blobs, so I thought I'd tie this one with a bead. So I've got a pink slotted bead. It's about a size 3.3 millimeter, and I've got an ideal jig hook by Partridge in the vise. There it is there. I'm using some white classic waxed in 8.0, and I'm just going to take, I've got some crystal flash here, or Flashy Blue Accent, and it's in dyed over pearl pink color, this color. I really like this color for salmon as well. I'm just going to take my thread to the front, clip my flash, or my crystal flash, nice and flush, tie it in. Just tie it in down the body. So I get to that last wrap. I'm just going to take a couple wraps in underneath it so it doesn't twist on me. Not that it's going to be that long anyways, but just in case it holds it up a little bit. So just a little bit of an accent, like so. Now I'm going to take, I've got the Flybox Micro Gel Core Fritz in original biscuit color. This color here. This is most often when I do see Daphnia coming out of a fish, that's usually the color they are. Sometimes they're a little bit more peach than that, but quite often they're just like it's almost white sometimes. So this biscuit's a good color to use. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just peeling it off. I've wet it in a glass of water because it's easier to work with when it's wet. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the exposed string to tie it in with. And, you know, quite often in fly shops you don't find blobs and boobies, so it is beneficial even just to learn fly tying to tie these flies, because they're very simple too. I know I'm pretty sure Casting Loops and Cam Loops does have them, and I'm sure Little Fort Fly Shop, and I think I've seen the boobies in, you know, Sea Run and all the other fly shops, but you're not going to get all the colors you can get when you tie your own. But you will get some very good colors. I guess as they're getting more popular, I'm seeing them more in the fly shops now. You could use a pink collar on this fly. I'm just going to use the plain white thread. And I meant to say I tied that bead in forward, so the hole is at the front there, and I've got the slot at the top. Just help it hang right. So this would be good for hanging in the weeds, you know, even. They don't snag up too badly. Especially the unweighted ones. That's why I fish them a lot. They're kind of like a gomphless fly that way. They don't really get snagged very often. So I really like fishing blobs rather than boobies. But I'll fish a booby if I have to. Whoops, but my hands are wet, so everything's sticking to them here. So I'm just going to take and whip finish. Try and pull it back. Still wet, but it does make that material easier to work with for sure when it's wet as opposed to dry. And get nicer wraps in, like so. 2 whips. You could put some super glue on your thread if you want. I'm not gonna for the purpose of the video, but normally I would. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a haircut. Kind of reminds me of Don's. One of his best blobs is the I think it's a Miss Piggy, and it's white and pink. So there you have it. That's my pinky biscuit blob. I don't know what to call it yet. I think the tails are just a tiny bit too long. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit. I'm looking on the camera there. Yeah, that looks a little bit better proportioned. So make sure you give that a try in multiple colors. You know, you can use pinks, yellows, oranges, greens. I never have enough green in my box. And then combine the colors, green and pink. And, you know, use them on any line. This one, obviously, use it on probably a floating line. But, you know, if you do the unweighted ones, I use them on everything from a hover line to a Type 7. So, and that's it. The blob. The blob does the job.
Wow, that is so bizarre. Now I've got nothing. Go on the screen. I had the one floating by. He took it. Oh, there's another one. Oh, he's coming up. He's coming up towards it. Watch my indicator. He's going to take it. Come on, eat it. Came right up towards it. Oh, he nibbled at it. Look at, he's chasing it. He wants it. He just didn't take it. Came right off the bottom. Oh, he's walking around it, swimming around it. Oh, there he took it. Oh, and I missed him. Look at, he's right there. And I missed him. I pulled my fly away. Oh, darn, not a bad fish. Okay, well, they seem to be cruising off the bottom. Like, look at that guy. He's right going towards the bottom again. I just cast out here, and that's where they're coming off. They're in deep water, like 30 feet, and looking up. Well, I'll keep working this area. At least I got a couple. Well, I got something real weird going on here. Look at these fish down here. 40 feet. I'm out in 40 feet. There's fish moving all around here. So, you know, I could either sink a blob straight down, or, and they're big fish too, or try a crawny. I don't know. I'm just going to maybe sink a blob down there and see what the heck's going on. Well, this has been the absolute craziest day. Not fall fishing at all. And that's what sometimes that's what you get. You know, I'm out, essentially I'm in 40 feet right now. There's fish cruising at like 10 feet, 15 feet on the bottom. They're not eating anything. They're on Daphnia. I can see fish, 15 feet. I've lowered down to 15. I'm just going to sit out here on 40 feet, fishing 15 to some fish I see and see if they want to eat something. But they were the 3 that I've caught, full of Daphnia, and that's it. So just a really weird fall day. But hey, that's the way it is. Oh, and I just had a guy. Oh, and I got one. Oh, and I just lost him. Oh, so it looks like they might be out here. So crazy. You never know what to expect in the fall. Well, it just confirms to me, look at, I got fish way down at 40 feet. There's I move around, it's the odd one that's up higher, but they're just hugging the bottom. I've put my chronomid down there, I've tried a blob. There's a couple guys higher, bunch of fish lower. They're not doing anything down there. They're not eating anything. I've tried to hang a blob straight down. I've stripped the fire tail through there, chronomid. They are just not happy. They're just not happy now. Everything I got in the shallows I caught, no problem. Now they just way out deep and they're not biting. Oh, crazy. Okay, I couldn't take it out there in 40 feet. I moved into 25. Saw a couple of fish again moving at 15 feet. Oh, and there we got him. Finally. So that was better. We moved in and able to get them because I couldn't take it, but they're just not big today. It's just, yeah, it's too bad. You know, the sun's out, it's warm, warmed right up. Not a traditional fall day by any means. It is just too warm. Like this morning they were on it. And you know, I was in 15, 20 feet, hanging 10. They're all over it. Not very big fish like this guy. And then I had to move in. But again, real soft takes. Oh, and there he's off. So right now, you know, I can see him in 26 feet. There are fish moving at 15 feet. That guided it. So I don't know. What a crazy day. I'll try for a little while longer and see. Well, before I go, I'll show everybody my setup. Of course, I like to use I've got a beautiful Hardy rod here, 10-foot 5 weight for the lake. And then the setup I have is your classic, right? I got your dry line, indicator, stretch down. I've got about 20 feet a leader here. I'm hanging about 15, down to a swivel. Always, I really like the little barrel swivels. They're perfect. They work really good. And of course, the cotton candy blob. Cotton candy blob, always good. So no more than 1.5 feet to your swivel. Again, you know, barrel swivels, especially this size, are really good when you're crawn emitting. And then up to my Oros indicators, and I like these. So these just roll on. They have a small little groove in them there. You can see the groove. You put your line through the groove and you tighten them up, and it works great because then you can slide it and it doesn't move when you cast. Really good setup. So that's kind of my setup today. Well, that's a wrap. Not the fall day I was expecting. The beauty is I get to go and hit a private lake tomorrow. And big fish, you know, we should have good action there. I'm going to meet Dale and Rickster and a few other people. So it should be good. We got a few days there. And then we start the big tour up in the Kamloops and north in the Caribou until early November. So should be pretty good. I just wanted to get this little mini in. Not what I expected today at all. Caught a few fish. Really bizarre day. But hey, that's fishing. Hope everybody enjoyed it. But when you're out here, take care. Conserve our waters. And we'll see you next time we take you sport fishing on the fly.